Hello, I'm Steph from IDRIVEACLASSIC, and today we're back for another episode of Rust to Roadworthy. And my goodness, we're starting to feel a bit, well, I feel a bit twitchy now because we're only a day and a half of work away from the NEC Classic Motor Show. I imagine by the time you're watching this, it's already happened, so you'll have seen the car. But anyway, we've had a really good update because one of the previous owners of the car, Josh Ward, sent me an inner sill for Tina. It was really, really good price. He only charged me what he paid himself, which I thought was incredibly generous. Really pleased with that. So we've got that, and you know what? I know that we keep banging more panels in. A couple of people said, oh, I'd like to see you do more repairs on the panels. But the thing is, some of these panels are just too far gone, and it's better to put good metal in, good strong good metal, fresh metal into the car because it adds more strength and structure. This is going into a structural area, so it's quite important. Now for Kev today, his big thing is going to be getting this sill done, which is probably going to be an all-day affair. For me, I'm going to be doing a bit of filling, a bit of grinding, and starting to tart things up because I think probably Monday when we get back on the job, we're going to be starting to spray a few panels, prep panels with red lead and stuff. So I'm not entirely sure what today holds for me, but we're only on half a day today, so I'm going to get cracking. I'm going to pass over to Kev first though, and he's going to tell us what's going to be involved in taking this sill off, because I think it's going to be one hell of a job.
Well, unfortunately it's not Christmas because this has turned up, which means it's got to be attached to this. Anyway, it is going to be attached to this today because that's the outstanding work. This sill was absolutely beggared completely. Due to complications, time and stuff, I'm having to do this welding on this. So basically that's it. So I'm going to cut the sill off today, this morning, in about half an hour's time, annoy the neighbours a tad more, and then we'll assessment of it and take it from there. Right, this would be a complete and utter no-no if this vehicle was a convertible, because I've cut the outer sill out. I'll show you how we do it. You get an angle grinder, making sure the sparks are going downhill, on the top edge of the sill here, all the way along there, taking very careful not to put your fingers there because it's very sharp, and then you go across it with an air chisel all the way along, and then you pull the sill down, and then we'll cut it off at the bottom here there and clean it all up. There you go. So it's not that bad really. It's obviously a lot worse. There's worse ones about. I'm sure the inner sill's a bit crusty there, to say the least. Now, we couldn't have done this if this was a convertible car, because a convertible car, the sills are part of the integral structure. Not that they aren't on a saloon car, but on a saloon car, you've got the roof that holds it all together, you've got the floor pan that holds it all together, and you've got the inner sills that hold it together. So that's why we can get away with it at this stage on a saloon. We're going to take the seat out, we're going to take the carpets out to try to make it safer to work, because we don't want, after all this effort, the thing to go up in flames, which would be a pointless waste of exercise. So that's it. That's the first stage of chopping the outer sill off. We'll come back later on, and when we're trying to repair the inner sills.
Well, I saw a car rolling down the hill and I said to Kev, I said, oh, who's that? And he went, oh, it's a scrap man, you get 170 for that. But no, it wasn't, it was Steve. And we've known each other a while, Steve. You've known Kev a lot longer, but we've actually featured some of your cars on the channel, haven't we?
Oh yeah, yeah. You've featured my Vauxhall Cresta. and the blue Vauxhall Velox. Yeah,
Which were very good cars.
yeah, yeah.
Now you know what you're doing. I feel almost intimidated you turning up today, because for anybody watching at home, Steve's restorations, he'll go, yeah, it looks all right. And then when you get there, it looks better than the day it rolled out the dealership. So you're the first person, Steve, to see the car apart from my other half, Fred, and Kev's family. What do you think? What are your honest thoughts? And I want you to be completely honest. You don't have to sugarcoat it for me.
Yeah. Well, it's not a concourse car, is it? And I don't think
Isn't
it ever
it?
will
No.
be. Unless you want to, you'd have two options with it, really. You either do something like this with it, or well, three options.
Yeah.
Or you spend an absolute fortune restoring it, getting new wings for it, and one thing and another, or you offer it to the scrap man. And I think this is a great way of doing it, especially seeing as this sort of car, where are we, K-Reg 72, exactly the sort of car that when I was a student, didn't have a lot of money. I think I had an Avenger about this age and a Viva, and we were basically doing exactly what you're doing here. Keeping cars on the road, you know, against all odds, really.
What do you think of the work that we've carried out so far? And bear in mind, you've known Kev a while, and he won't have an alibi, so he can't spike your tea. So give us your honest thoughts on the work that we've done.
Well, I don't know about Kevin's work, but yours is great. This wing looks, you know, I saw you welding it up, and now you've filled it, you really wouldn't know. Get a bit of underseal behind it, a bit of paint on the top of it. Trouble is, it's just so damp.
I know.
You know, it'll be. That's going to be a problem with trying to spray it, especially in the garage here.
Yeah, I know. Well, the plan is, realistically, I don't know if I've actually indoctrinated Kev into this. This might be the first time Kev's hearing it. But the idea is that we're just going to get it rolling along, mechanically safe. It is pretty much there anyway. There's a couple of little tweaks that I'd like to do. And then just have the bodywork roughish but sound till spring, and then I'm going to rope Kevin to spray it. Not that he probably knows that yet, but
no, we'll tell him later.
that'll be the plan.
Just get it solid first. Get this sill sorted out. Get all its MOT problems sorted out.
Yeah.
Get it so that it's solid, the brakes work,
and
then it's reliable. You can use it a bit then, can't you?
Well, exactly. I'm really looking forward to using it. I've realised actually, as I've worked my way through doing this, that I've actually remembered why I really love the car. Because when I first turned up, I was kind of just really over it, and I thought, well, if I push myself maybe once or twice to get involved, it will get the love back, and actually it's back in full swing. So I'm really pleased that I've started. But you'll have to come out for a drive when she's done.
Yeah, we'll take it for a drive. Yeah.
Whether it's to the scrapyard or a pub.
Yeah. We've got a trailer, haven't we?
Fantastic. Right, let's get that kettle on for you.
Well, today, it's inner sill time. Inner sill on this was absolutely knackered at the bottom. So I've had to seam weld, get some new. Fortunately, it wasn't too horrendously bad because it was just at the bottom. So, whoop, a minute. Ugh. So I've got some little angle plate there, cleaned the floor up, cleaned that side up there, and then put that in there and just filled it all up. This came from Combe Valley Motor Parts in Slathwaite near Huddersfield, a really old-fashioned motor accessory shop that people need to keep going to because use it or lose it, as they say. So anyway, done that. So Steph's off to the dentist, so that I'm going to have to put the downward piece on, which I'll do, and then I'm going to put the outer sill on hopefully at some point today. I'll either do it today or tomorrow. Because obviously we're only doing a bit of a half day today, and time's pressing on us, unfortunately. So making progress. It's getting more solid as we go along. I haven't quite lost interest in it just yet, but I'm getting close to it. so with a bit of luck, the project will be finished, and quicker than my interest diminishes with a bit of luck. Nice to see Steve today as well, by the way. Steve said some good stuff about the wing. And it is very nostalgic, really, because what people don't understand nowadays is when we were first started driving, cars were blooming expensive in the 70s and 80s. I mean, cars are more or less a throwaway item nowadays, and you had to keep your thing going because otherwise, you know, you got no transport to get to work, and you seem to spend weekend keeping your car going, ready for going to work on a Monday. And that's how it was in the sort of early 80s. Because people now, it's just plug and play, and cars are more disposable now than what they used to be. But anyway, fortunately, this hasn't been disposed of.
It's a bit of a funny one because I feel like today's video is quite short because we're only doing half a day, but I feel like we've still made some pretty good progress. So in terms of what I've been doing, let me talk you through, because it might not immediately be visible if you're watching at home. So first of all, we got the chrome off this arch, and I thought the chrome was going to be hiding a multitude of sins, but actually it wasn't too bad. It was far better than what we found at the back end when we took those arches off and all hell broke loose, and well, that bit of sill came flying off. So what I've done is I cleaned it all back. So I took it all back with the grinder and 80 grit sandpaper. I cleaned it all back, looked for all the rot, and to be fair, it wasn't too bad. It was just those bottom corners where it screws in, where it had kind of rounded off, that's where the worst of it was. So what I've done is I've gone over with a gentle, I say a gentle skim of filler, there's more than a gentle skim, but I was like, right, because you've got to fill in all the holes where the chrome trim was. So I've done all of that today, and then round the front there was a multitude of bits and pieces. So what I did was I took that all back to bare metal, slapped some Q rust on. That's something I think I've forgotten to mention actually. I did put Q rust all around that arch as well. Checked it was all fine. Or treated everything that needed to be treated, and I did the same with that front bit as well. So that's kind of all well and good. In terms of this door, I feel like I'm just going to walk you around the car and tell you what I've done today. I got filler all round, so all the bits and pieces, and there were some really tiny pinholes that didn't warrant chopping off the bottom of the door and trying to create new metal. It just basically needed a bit of filler in there, so filled all that bottom of the door, just put some filler in round here just to kind of even it up, because what's happened is where the metal has gone so rusty, it's kind of pitted that metal underneath, which means that if we just applied paint straight on, you would have seen straight through and it would have just looked naff. So essentially what I'm going to do when I come back on Monday is rub all this down again to get that nice flat smooth surface and just cover up that pitting. Again, we're having the same thing with this back door. So again, just rubbing down, just getting all that in. I've started to rub this down really, so I've started to get that in, a little bit round the fuel filler cap. I've just refilled that because I wasn't really happy with my first attempt at rubbing that down. Now usually there's a seam here, and you know people talk about rear seat delete. I'm doing a rear seam delete because I didn't like that seam anyway, so it had lots of corrosion around it, and for me to honour that it would have just been too much, so just took that out. Again, remember it's rust to roadworthy, not rust to concourse. Again, on the other side, now I'll tell you what inspired me to do rear seam delete was I already put a load of filler on that, rubbed it back, and then put that seam back in, and it just, I don't know, it didn't feel right, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for a nice smooth finish on that back end and take that out. All round here, I feel like because Kev's been working on a lot of the welding over there today, what I've been doing is essentially almost working on this side of the car mostly, and I don't know, I don't want to like big myself up because I think that's really big-headed and you can end up coming across quite arrogant, but I'm really proud of myself in that I've been taught some of this stuff, and if you'd given me this a month ago I would have said I wouldn't be able to achieve it, but now, you know, I've taken these doors back, I've ground them back, I Q-rusted them about a week ago, and then what I've done is I filled it in this morning dead early and then just kind of rubbed it back. Now I know that someone's going to ask me why I haven't taken this chrome trim off. Well, we alluded to it earlier in the video that Kev is actually going to respray the car for me. Thank you. But we're not going to do that till spring. So it's so damp at the moment that we just don't have the right weather conditions to get a fairly decent paint finish on it. So at the moment, the idea is it's treating the visible rust, doing what we can with it, make it look as smart as we can through winter, and then in spring revisiting it, going a little bit deeper, doing things like taking out this, I'm going to do the front screen rubber as well, but taking out the rear screen rubber, front screen rubber, replacing all of these. If you do have a Marina and you're watching this and you're wondering where you can get this trim, I've been told that East Kent Trim do it. I haven't ordered mine yet, so I don't know how good it is, but if you are looking for one, that's where you need to start. I probably would start there for most cars actually, because I've heard a few good bits about them. Again, coming through to this front door, I filled this, but I haven't had time to rub it back today, although I did rub a bit back around the door handle, so that's not too bad. Now, the bit that I'm most proud of today is a really small area that you probably wouldn't notice unless I said anything to you. Is when I first bought the car, something that really bothered me was around, I'll pull you in, don't be shy, come in, Kev. When I first bought the car, the windscreen wipers around this one was all just a bit manky, and all I've done for the last few years is just continually rub it down with a rubbing block from Halfords and then spray a bit of stuff on just to try and stop it getting any worse. And to be fair, it has largely worked, but today I've actually taken it a bit further, and what I did was when I rubbed it all back, we talked about that pitting earlier, there's a lot of pitting here, so what I did was I essentially put a skimmer filler in around here, took it all back. As you can see, I've tried to feather it in. We talked about that feathering in a previous video, and you know what, when that's sprayed, even just with, I don't know, a quick bit of white, it's going to look so much better than it did when it arrived, because it was one of the big things for me that made this car look really tatty, which might seem really weird to some people, but it was one of those things. I've also tackled the roof as well. I've done this one so well I'd forgotten I'd done it. So essentially what I've done is there was some pitting on the roof, just tackled it again. Remember, the idea is rust to roadworthy, but I just wanted it to look as smart as I could through winter, and that's what I've been doing today, just working on little bits of bodywork. I know, I'm jolly proud of myself. I think it's been all right. Well, I've got the dentist in an hour's time. It's going to take me about an hour from here. So my dentist appointment is at 2:30, and that's not a joke. And I really hope it's not a joke that comes true either. But yeah, it's been another day of progress and just being reflective for a moment. I think it's gone really well. You know, we turned up, about 3 weeks ago, and I thought that, I don't know what I thought actually, nothing normal or logical, I can tell you that. But it's all come together to some respect, and I think that there's a lot of progress. I hope that we've inspired a few people with what we've done so far. We've got one full solid day left before the NEC, and I feel very nervous because it's very different when a friend comes to the garage and we show them the car and we say, this is what we've done, and they say, yes, like it, no, you could do this better. And it's different because you're cushioned slightly by that shared knowledge that you're quite safe in sharing opinions. Opening the car up to strangers, I feel very sick and nervous, but it'll be fine. You know, we said in video 1 that it wasn't going to be finished by the NEC. It's certainly not going to be finished, but I tell you what, there's a lot of progress to come and see, and you can see what we've learned, or what I've learned, and what Kev's shown us. And you know, he's right. It's a car that probably should have been scrapped many moons ago. And it's great because you've got previous owners that have kept it going. You've got the person that recommissioned it, or the people that recommissioned it when it was first found. So Josh and his friends recommissioned it. And now we're here in 2023 and we're going to give the car another boost, keep it going. And then in spring, get it resprayed and looking really nice, and take her out to shows and hopefully inspire a few more people to take on a Marina. But yeah, that's it from us today. One full day left, feeling a bit nervous, but yeah, I hope you're enjoying it. So until next Saturday, take care, drive safely, and this weather's a bit naff, so keep warm.